Alright, hello everyone. I wanted to do a quick Trev kill timing tutorial on Cradle, just so you guys can get a feel for how the timing works. I don't think there's another video out there that sort of explains it in detail, sort of the movement that you want to do. This is how I do it. It's not a end-all be-all. It's just the method that I use to consistently get Trev kills. And believe me, I've done this enough times to where I've kind of figured it out. Guess we'll start playing it, and we'll look at a run in full speed. We'll look at that real quick. Start aiming, blowing up that drone real early, and kill Trev. So we're going to break it down basically into parts. I've got 5 steps that I've outlined. We'll take a look at them. We'll break them down one by one. Sort of go through my mindset as I go through them. It's going to be slowed down by quite a bit so we can, go through them as they happen. So you want to press B for the reload. You want to press B for the reload, I would say about here. So that way when you press B, you go into that reload animation, you hit that railing to the side, and you sort of glide into the safe spot. That'll really help you get your aim consistent, because you don't want to be swinging around trying to blow up the drone. This at least gives you a really comfy way of go ahead and blowing it up. So let's advance a little bit. Okay, so this is step 1. This is what you want to do to put your aim on the drone. Like I said, press B, about where I said before. You want to get your dot on this drone as soon as possible. Ideally about here is where you'd want it. You do have a little bit of wiggle room, but step 1, all that we're going to go over is just putting the dot on the drone and when to start firing. So you're going to glide into this safe spot. Reload animation started. Alright, so Trev now has started from his diagonal movement here to a straightforward movement into the hut. That's about when you want to start firing. There's a little line here where the hut meets the center of the cradle here. You want Trev to be before that line when you start firing. That way you blow up the drone as soon as possible, and you can really get the timing down and get a really quick kill on him. Not super necessary for 33, but it does help pace it a little bit if you do struggle to pace 33, especially on SAOO. The better you get this timing down to blow up the drone, the better. You'll pace 33 a lot more often. So I'm going to start shooting here basically about at this point when he starts moving forward. Now we go on to step 2. So that's just aiming at the drone, your timing for when you want to start shooting. Quick thing I forgot to mention, you want to aim for the bulk of the drone here. You don't want to be aiming up here off to the side. You want to aim for the turret of the drone right there. You want to aim for that big bulky part right there. Step 2, we're going to shoot at the drone until it blows up. You want to anticipate the explosion and be ready to switch your aim from the drone onto this guard here. So we're going to do that. We're going to blow up the drone. You want to do it in about 5-6 shots, ideally. Not always going to happen, so just be ready to enter the hut a little bit early if it takes you a little bit longer to blow it up. Here we're about 6 shots, so that's pretty good. I failed to sync up the ZMGs. You absolutely don't need to do it. I find it better to do it. There's other opinions out there about syncing the ZMGs, but I find it good. I don't find any detriment to it, and it helps me just, with consistency, especially on SAW, where you can hit Trev twice anywhere with synced ZMGs. However, if you don't sync your ZMGs, you're limited to a body or head shot on him on SAW. Just common knowledge there. So we've blown up the drone. That's basically all that step 2 is. We're anticipating that explosion to form, which it does about here. Once we see the explosion, we want to move into step 3, which is switching our aim from the drone to this guard, which we're going to do here. Alright, so the entirety of step 3 is literally just switching from explosion of the drone to aiming at this guard. Now, this is probably the toughest part to learn for the Trev kill timing. You want to have your dot on this guard, recognize that your dot's on the guard, recognize that you stopped adjusting your aim. Once you've done all of that, then you know it's time to go. So we'll watch it in full speed again at the end, just to take note of that. But that's the key factor for Trev kill consistency. If you do this timing pretty consistently, you'll at least get within like 3 or 4 frames of the kill frame. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But as long as you're getting within that window of frames, you're going to get kills consistently. It's when you space out your kills in between the explosion cycle, that's when you really start having trouble getting kills consistently. That and when your aim is off. We'll talk about that in a later step, but we're going to switch over to step 4. So now we've noticed that we have our dot on this guard. We've not anticipated it, but react naturally. Sort of similar to the slaps on statue. You don't want to anticipate the text box that Trev has on statue. You just want to react naturally to it and then start slapping. Sort of a similar thing here. React naturally to the dot being on that guard. Sometimes this guard will be back here. In that event, you want to put your dot right basically inside of the frame of this hut door here. You want to have it right about where his hand is here. Start shooting there if you do not see the guard, which does happen sometimes. So we'll continue on with step 4. This is when we will leave the safe spot. So as soon as you've noticed that guard, your dot's on him, you've reacted naturally. I reiterate that because it's very important. Then you move out of the safe spot. This is where you switch to left. My left strafe, I do it just about until I've noticed that I'm free. Again, reacting naturally to it. I'm not like trying to cook the shit out of the leaf here. Pardon my French. But yeah, you just want to leave this safe spot in left strafe. And then we're going to switch to right for step 5. Now my dot is about here on the screen. I'm probably going to shoot a couple shots into the door frame here. That's totally acceptable. You want to have your dot as close to this door frame as possible. Ideally you want to have it just inside, but if you shoot a couple shots at it, that's okay. It just helps to have it inside to get aim on this guard. Japanese auto aim will really take care of that on SAW, which I would recommend Jap for SAW. On Asian, I kind of recommend NTSC. Just because it feels a lot smoother to me, but that's, it's up to you, however you want to play it, I guess. Alright, so we've switched to left strafe here. We're going to switch to right strafe. Oh, excuse me. And then the one thing that people really struggle with to get kills is just maintaining accuracy on Trev. They'll swing off to the left. They won't turn enough to kill him. Getting your accuracy down is super important. Even with auto aim on. Auto aim is helpful, but you shouldn't rely completely on it to kill Trev. It's unrealistic to expect that, especially if you don't kill this guard up here in front. He's going to give you a bad time. So as we switch into right strafe from left strafe here, we're going to keep our dot as close to this door frame as possible. And we're going to do that by doing a very slight left turn to maintain that dot around this corner. So we're going to play the video, switching to right strafe. I don't do it all that well in this video. This is my 0033. But what you ideally want to do is you want to have your dot about here, and you're just slightly turning and adjusting so that it curves in here and you get a kill. I get lucky because he's far enough along in his cycle. We'll go back here. But he's just far enough in the cycle to where I just barely get him. But ideally, you want to keep your dot here and round the corner with it. Also sets you on your line a lot quicker. So right when you see him die, you want to get right into your strafe and set the line for this edge of the door frame here. It can be kind of tricky to learn at first. You'll see the kill, you'll be like, oh my god, I got a kill, oh my god. Gamer moment, gamer moment. But you don't really want to take your time getting into strafe. It's where a lot of 33s go to die on SA00. Agent, it's not that big of a deal. But you want to set your line basically as quickly as possible. Which I kind of snap to it here, which is what you want to do. Another thing I forgot to mention, the text box, when that pops up, is super important. That's basically the frame that the text box pops up. Look at how close I am to the hut itself. I've seen runs where text boxes have been like out here. Even some like you're barely leaving the safe spot. Any time that's spent after the text box killing Trev is time lost. Now, you don't want to kill him like right on the frame that the text box comes up. That's going to give you that music change that has a 0% chance of completion. But you want to do it as close to that text box as possible. So on this run, we are pretty darn close to Trev. We have him in our sights when this text box comes up, which is pretty insane. It takes a lot of hours to get to this point. But this all stems from blowing that drone up early. The earlier you blow up the drone, the quicker you'll be able to kill Trev with the explosion cycle. So what I mean by that, Trev can be killed on a sequence of frames. This is from what I've noticed, and I think Ted can back me up on this or whatever, do his own research. If really it's that big of a deal, we can get with him. But Trev can be killed on the frames of the explosion cycle. It's about every 40 to 55 frames. Like frame 40, after the explosion happens, Trev can be killed. Frame 55 after the explosion, Trev can be killed. So you have to hit him on one of those two cycles. I guess you could do 70? I don't know if there is an explosion cycle for frame 70. Most Trev kills happen on frame 55. So if you have a run that's really close, in your opinion, to getting a kill, just cut it out. Count the frames from when the explosion first happens. That's when the screen shakes up and down. Count the frames from there. 55 frames after that happens, that's when you can kill Trev. 40 frame kills are really rare. They usually happen when you take your time blowing up the drone. I'm not going to really explore that in this video, just because it's very uncommon and hard to pull off. But frame 55 kills, that's where the majority of them happen. So we get Trev on frame 55 here. He dies. You want to have him in a running animation for him to drop a grenade. Ted's looked into that. I can basically confirm that. Now, it is interesting because you don't have to see him running like this for him to drop a grenade. He can be standing still and be in his running animation, so to speak, without him even running. That's how you kind of get those kills where you kill Trev, drops a grenade, you still get an A complete anyway. Most of the time he'll do like a diving animation when that happens. But yeah, that's sort of the inside of the grenade drop too. Don't get disheartened, if he's not dropping grenades your session. It just takes some time, takes some effort. You got to put in the hours. But it's a time that just about anyone can get, in my opinion. There's really a lot that we need to learn about Cradle. I hope I did enough here of a knowledge dump to help you guys get some kills more consistently. Again, let's watch it in full speed, then we'll watch it slowed down, and I'll sort of give my commentary throughout it. So let's watch a full speed one here real quick. Quick blow up, aim, go. Alright, so we're gonna break it down a little bit and more in depth here. So, get on the drone as soon as possible. Start firing before he's crossed this line, when he starts going vertically. Blow up the drone. Switch your aim to this guard. Once you've noticed you're stagnant, go ahead and go. Curve gently in. Hope your text box comes up about here. Get him. Set your line. And go. Alright, I hope that this helped you guys with your consistency. If you ever have any questions, just DM me. Always willing to help out. Thank you guys for watching, listening, and may your Trevs drop many nades.